Drug overdoses in Ohio have been increasing for the last 8 years. Police are taking steps to seize drugs in local communities. A second woman is accusing Judge Brett Kavanaugh of sexual assault. Lawmakers in Washington argue on how to proceed with his confirmation. And in sports, the Bobcats travel to Cincinnati for the first time since 1981. See how they matched up against the Bearcats. Newswatch starts right now.
Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
More Ohioans are dying from drug overdoses now than ever before. Good evening, I'm Caitlin Coolidge. Thanks for joining us. The number of drugs overdoses in Ohio is increasing, and it has been the highest it's been in 8 years. According to data reported to Ohio's Department of Health and calculated by the Columbus Dispatch, 2017 was the 8th year in a row drug deaths increased. In 2016, there were just more than 4,000 overdoses. In 2017, that number rose to nearly 5,000. But the health department says fatal overdoses from prescription opioids in 2017 was the lowest in 8 years. And local officials are working to get these numbers down. Chillicothe police seized about 6 ounces of suspected heroin, more than 300 oxycodone pills, and close to an ounce of deadly synthetic opioid, carfentanil. 2 people being charged after the drugs were found in their apartment. A 22-year-old man was found in the home, and a woman was stopped as she was leaving Friday afternoon. The suspected drugs will be sent to a crime lab. Ohio's data shows that fentanyl is still what is fueling the drug epidemic. The synthetic opioid accounted for nearly 3/4 of last year's overdose deaths in the state. But Ohio isn't the only one who is fighting opioids. President Trump talked about the epidemic at the United Nations General Assembly today.
The scourge of drug addiction continues to claim too many lives in the United States and in nations around the world. Today, we commit to fighting the drug epidemic together.
If you or someone you know has an addiction, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration's helpline can connect you to find local sources. It can provide referrals to treatment facilities, support groups, and community-based organizations. A West Virginia hemp farm is facing a lawsuit. The U.S. Attorney sued Camo Hemp West Virginia and Grassy Run Farms for violating the Federal Controlled Substance Act. The lawsuit says the farm bought the seeds in Kentucky and brought them over West Virginia state line. The state pilot program only allows hemp producers to get seed through the State Department of Agriculture. The search at a property in Shade where one buried body was found is over. The Athens Messenger reports police did not find any other bodies after searching Friday. Investigators used a GPS grid search and cadaver dogs to comb the 150-acre property. The body of Chris Meadows was found on September 4th. 5 people have been charged during the investigation of this death.
Welcome into the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster, Blake Hardesty. It was a wet day today in Athens, and it's going to continue with that as we go through the overnight hours. Those rain showers are going to be continuing. We might even have a possible thunderstorm or two over tonight. With temperatures right now 69 degrees with winds out of the southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. As we take a look behind me around the region tonight, we have 68 in the new Lexington, 70 degrees over Marietta, 72 for one spot in Ripley, and 69 in Cambridge. Again, across that whole area, the rain continues into the overnight hours as the rain begins to push out into the northeast in the next couple of days. Breaking it down tonight hour by hour in Athens, 8 p.m., looking at 68 degrees. We're going to cool down a little bit at 66 for midnight and 4 a.m. Those rain showers are going to be a little bit heavier tomorrow morning, so make sure you be careful as you go out driving tomorrow morning. And it might be warming up here in a little bit, so I'll have more details about that when we can finally have some more returning.
All right, thank you so much for that weather update. An Ohio man convicted of murdering 3 people is appealing his death penalty sentence to the U.S. Supreme Court. Richard Beasley was convicted of posting fake job offers on Craigslist to rob and murder 3 men in 2011. The appeal says the Ohio Supreme Court justice who heard the case should have rescued himself because he is the son of the state attorney general, Mike DeWine. Beasley has challenged the sentence before, claiming there were multiple trial errors. West Virginia may soon be getting more than $7 million. Governor Jim Justice is recommending the Appalachian Regional Commission to approve the grant money. It'd be used for 9 projects around the state, including public water and wastewater improvements, water treatment plant improvements, and technical assistance to businesses. Ohio schools are getting some extra money. The state is splitting up the $12 million that was set aside to help boost school safety and security. The Attorney General's office says each school will get at least $2,500 through the grants. The grants could be used to train school resource officers or set up programs to help students deal with mental illness. Schools are required to work with local law enforcement to figure out what is best. More students in Kentucky are earning college credit while still in high school. State higher education officials say there has been an increase in students taking dual credit courses. Officials say the courses increase the likelihood the student will go to college and graduate on time. During last school year, nearly 35,000 students across the state earned college credit. That's up 45% compared to the year before. Excuse me, one moment, having some technical difficulties. A 19-year-old teenager was lost at sea for almost 2 months. His story is of survival and journey back home when Newswatch returns.
This fall is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall.
Which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you.
And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage.
So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see the world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
I loved Ken Burns' series on the Civil War. It was deeply impacting. I love history. To have those stories told through these letters, through stories of love and loss, it rewrote the book on how to tell a story. When television was invented, there were a lot of people who had dreams about what it could do. I think PBS still aspires for and often succeeds at reaching the highest ideals of what television could be.
Governor John Kasich is trying to close gaps in the state's gun control policies. Kasich signed 2 executive orders today after no action was taken by the legislature on recommendations from bipartisan groups about gun control. The first order establishes a group to keep trying to close gaps on the national background check system. Kasich says that better screening is common sense and is something everyone should agree on.
We turn on the television or look at our phones, and I should say every week there's another tragedy out there. Anything we can do to do the simple things that are complicated but have no debate embedded in them is something that we really have to get done.
The second order sets up emergency rules requiring law enforcement to upload protection orders and warrants into statewide databases. He says the orders will make it harder for dangerous people to get guns. The future of Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein appears to be up in the air. Omar Jimenez reports on the latest from Washington.
Rod Rosenstein, Deputy Attorney General and overseer of Special Counsel Robert Mueller's investigation, met with Chief of Staff John Kelly at the White House on Monday amidst reports he expected to be fired. This comes in the wake of a New York Times report that Rosenstein secretly discussed recording President Donald Trump and invoking the 25th Amendment to remove him from office, a report that Rosenstein has denied. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said in a statement he and President Trump had an extended conversation to discuss the recent news stories. Trump responded to the reports from the United Nations General Assembly Monday.
I'm meeting with Rod Rosenstein on Thursday when I get back from all of these meetings, and we'll be meeting at the White House, and we'll be determining what's going on.
In the meantime, what remains unclear is the fate of Rosenstein's job.
This looks to me like a slow-moving Saturday night massacre. It seems like the only question is whether these steps take place now or they take place after the midterms when the president believes he'll pay less of a political price for it.
Trump appointed Rosenstein as Deputy Attorney General, but has expressed extreme frustration with him for months, partly over his decision to hire Mueller last year. Trump has repeatedly branded the Mueller investigation a witch hunt. All of this unfolding alongside a contentious Supreme Court confirmation process for Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Republican allies of the president have urged Trump to hold off on a purge of Justice Department officials until Kavanaugh is safely in place on the high court. In Washington, I'm Omar Jimenez.
A meeting between President Trump and Rosenstein is planned for Thursday. The Dallas police officer who was accused of shooting a man in his own home is being charged with manslaughter. Amber Geyer was fired earlier today after being charged. Geyer allegedly entered 26-year-old Botham Jean's apartment last week, claiming she thought he was her own. Geyer is reported to have shot and killed Jean. The Dallas Police Department released a statement on Twitter stating that Geyer engaged in an adverse conduct, which she was arrested for manslaughter. The top Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee is calling for an immediate postponement of any further action on Brett Kavanaugh's confirmation. This is after a new allegation of sexual misconduct against the Supreme Court nominee surfaced. Kavanaugh and the White House deny the claim made by a second woman, Abby Phillip reports.
The ranking Democrat on the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dianne Feinstein, calling for an immediate delay in Judge Kavanaugh's confirmation proceedings and an FBI investigation, after the New Yorker published new allegations of sexual misconduct from a second accuser. The New Yorker reports that Deborah Ramirez, a classmate of Kavanaugh's at Yale, says she remembers Kavanaugh exposing himself to her at a drunken college dormitory party, Kavanaugh categorically denying the claim. Writing in part, this alleged event from 35 years ago did not happen. This is a smear, plain and simple. The White House throwing their full support behind President Trump's nominee, saying this 35-year-old uncorroborated claim is the latest in a coordinated smear campaign by the Democrats designed to tear down a good man. Ramirez told The New Yorker that at first she was unsure of Kavanaugh's role in the alleged incident, but after assessing her memories and consulting with her attorney, she is confident in her recollection. A classmate who was not at the party told the magazine he is 100% sure that he was told at the time that Kavanaugh was the student that exposed himself to Ramirez. But a number of other classmates denying any memory of this party, including a student Ramirez said egged Kavanaugh on. A spokesman for Chairman Chuck Grassley tells CNN he has plans to look into the accusations, but has no plans to postpone Thursday's hearing with Professor Christine Blasey Ford, who says Kavanaugh sexually assaulted her at a high school party, a claim Kavanaugh denies.
I would be wanting to hear what kind of environment it was in high school. Apparently there was a lot of drinking and partying going on. This is why we need an investigation.
Ford has committed to testifying, despite Grassley offering no details about who will be questioning her, and the committee's refusal to subpoena other witnesses like Mark Judge, who Ford says was in the room when the alleged assault occurred.
Protests have been going on at the U.S. Capitol today as people speak out against Kavanaugh. Some demonstrators were arrested. Capitol Hill police arrested some of them outside of the office of Republican Senator Susan Collins. The crowd called on Collins to vote no on Kavanaugh in the wake of the two allegations. Bill Cosby is beginning the sentencing process after his sexual assault conviction in April. The 81-year-old was found guilty of sexually assaulting Andrea Constant in his own home near Philadelphia in 2004. He faces up to 10 years in prison for each of the 3 counts against him, up to 30 years. Several other Cosby accusers will also be in the courtroom for the sentence.
Mr. Cosby should not be treated differently because he is a celebrity. There must be equal justice under the law. No more and no less. Mr. Cosby, in my opinion, should be sentenced to prison.
His defense team is expected to appeal the guilty verdict. The judge could allow Cosby to remain on house arrest until the appeal is resolved. An Indonesian teen who was lost at sea for 49 days is finally home. 19-year-old Aldi Novel was hired to live in a rompong, a fishing trap with a small hut on top, for 6 months. Novel was 77 miles off the coast when his rompong became detached from its anchor, causing him to drift even farther into sea. He was rescued by a Panamanian ship traveling to Japan. He says more than 10 ships passed him before he was able to get rescued. A proposed bill could give you a little more legroom on your next flight. The bipartisan bill would order the FAA to establish a new set of regulations for airlines. It would include minimal seat sizes, as well as new restrictions on animals and removal of passengers. The bill is expected to pass in the House and Senate this week before needing a signature from President Trump. Even after the worst of Hurricane Florence is over, water levels in some parts of South Carolina could reach up to 12 feet. That story's still ahead.
And we have some wet days coming up ahead of us for the next couple of days, actually, even possible of a thunderstorm or two. And we even have some warmer temperatures might be coming up by the weekend. I'll have more detail about that in my extended forecast when Newswatch returns.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at WOUB.org. And thank you.
I love PBS because at the heart of everything PBS does is education.
I use PBS not only in my home, but also in my classroom.
It's kind of the idea of being the great equalizer for learning and for education.
I'm a lifelong learner, and PBS has always been part of that journey for me.
I love PBS because PBS supports teachers.
They know what works for kids and what's best for kids, and that's why I love PBS.
What are you doing?
Possibilities. Your day is filled with them.
Reach up, energy in the fingertips, collapse. TV, play Downton Abbey.
And PBS helps everyone discover theirs. Anytime, anywhere.
Up in the sky, you can see it.
PBS, we're with you for life.
PBS had a special on Pearl Harbor, and once Landon started watching the show about the Arizona, he completely became fascinated.
That's Donald Stratton, and that's me.
And then his Christmas wish this year was to meet Donald Stratton, one of the survivors from the Arizona.
So good to see you, buddy.
Everything that Landon has learned from PBS, it's immeasurable.
This is for you.
Thank you, big guy.
He is living proof of the effect that PBS has had on his life.
Welcome into the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm your forecaster, Blake Hardesty. It was a cold and wet day today in Athens. Right now we're sitting at only 69 degrees. Those rain showers do continue into the overnight hours tonight. So make sure if you go out, make sure you do keep those umbrellas handy, and those rain showers are going to continue overnight with winds out of the south-southeast at 5 to 10 miles per hour. I was looking across the region right now, looking at 69 degrees here in Athens, 72 for one spot in Ripley, 70 in Marietta, and 69 up in Cambridge. So it's pretty much a general consensus around the southeast Ohio. It's rainy and cool, which is not that pleasant out there at the moment, but it could be always worse. This is the rain we're seeing tonight moving across the area as we move northeast. We're looking for tomorrow morning. That rain is going to continue to push out of the area. Still a lot behind it. And as we continue into tomorrow night, those rain showers are also going to continue. We might have the possibility of some heavy rain showers tomorrow morning. Just be careful as you go out and about on those roads tomorrow. Be careful out there. Tonight in Athens, looking at 65 degrees with some rain showers continuing. It's going to be on and off rain all night tonight. The National Weather Service in Charleston, West Virginia has issued a flash flood watch that goes into effect as of now until 5 p.m. on Wednesday. And tonight, those winds continue 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the south-southeast. Tonight, I do break it down hour by hour. 68 degrees by tonight at 8 p.m. It's going to cool down a little bit to 66 degrees, and that's going to continue into the morning tomorrow, with an occasional downpour tomorrow morning and fog overnight as well. So overnight lows tonight in Athens, looking at 65 degrees, 67 in Ripley, 66 down there in Ireton. Again, pretty cool evening. Those rain showers are going to be continuing off into the northeast. As we go hour by hour tomorrow in Athens, waking up to 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, 65 degrees. Again, those rain showers are going to continue throughout the entire day tomorrow. Beware of flood of those as the flash flood watch continues from the National Weather Service. And even a possible thunderstorm or two is possible tomorrow. So if you're walking out and about tomorrow, you might have a little bit of thunder out there tomorrow. Tomorrow in Athens, 76 degrees for a high under cloudy skies and rainy continue. Again, possible thunderstorms as we go about the day tomorrow. Tomorrow for a high 76 in Athens, 79 and 82 for one spot in Ironton, and 74 for the people up in Cambridge. As we take a look at the 7-day forecast, we have some rain continuing and possible thunderstorms on Wednesday. And look at this, sun finally returns with a gorgeous weekend coming up on Saturday and Sunday. Pleasant, 75 degrees on Saturday, 77 on Sunday, and look at 78 again back on Monday. Caitlin, back over to you.
All right, yeah, looking like we're going to have some warmer weather. The worst of Hurricane Florence is over, but the flooding is not. 5 different rivers meet in Georgetown, South Carolina, and the merger of some of the rivers is expected to produce major floods. Water levels could reach up to 12 feet in some parts of the county. Officials are urging residents to evacuate the area, with schools closing and emergency shelters already being set up.
I'm Nick Niehaus. Coming up, I have the updated standings in both TVC conference divisions in case you missed how last Friday's matchups went down. And the Ohio Bobcats had a cat fight against Cincinnati on Saturday. I'll have details on how that one finished, along with reaction from head coach Frank Solich. All that and more coming up next on Newswatch.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
This fall is going fast, but don't get bored on us mid-season now. The playoff picture is starting to develop, and every game that we bring you will have playoff implications. Right now is one of the most exciting times of the fall, which means you can't afford to miss Friday nights with us. Live at 11:30, Gridiron Glory is here for you. And check out our Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube pages all throughout the week. They're chock full of coverage. So start your weekends with us. And remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights in Gridiron Glory.
I'm such a huge fan of PBS. For my entire life, it's been our window into a world of the arts that isn't available anywhere else on TV. We learn about our numbers and our letters and singing through music, through the incredible children's programming they have. And then we grow up and we get to see world of the arts, whether it's ballet or opera or Broadway, and so many other amazing moments that you wouldn't get anywhere else except for PBS.
WOUB is member-supported public television. Your contribution keeps WOUB available in your community. Become a member with a gift of $60 or more for access to stream more than 1,000 of your favorite PBS programs through WOUB Passport. Programs like Nature, Sherlock, and all episodes of Downton Abbey and Victoria. Pledge now at woub.org. And thank you.
Welcome back. I'm Nick Niehaus. Week 5 in the high school football season has come and gone, and we saw some local undefeated teams fall for the very first time. In the TVC Hawking, we have a tie for first place with Trimble and Waterford, who have one loss but are still perfect in conference. They face this week. Belpre comes in at third place, currently with a worse overall record than Southern, but they beat the Tornadoes last Friday 55-41, so they get the edge. And at the bottom is winless Wahama and Fedhawk, but they're actually playing right now, so one team will see a win before the night is over. Moving to the TVC Ohio, the Athens Bulldogs are at the top of the pack with an undefeated conference record after defeating Vinton County, but are joined by the Meigs Marauders, who also haven't dropped a contest in the Ohio despite having a 2-3 overall record. Next up in the standings are Wellston and Nelsonville York. They are also perfect in conference, but have each only played one game in the Ohio so far on the year. The rest of the pack is winless in conference. Teams include Alexander, Vinton County, and River Valley. Moving on to college sports, the Ohio Bobcats lost in heartbreaking fashion Saturday against the Cincinnati Bearcats. Nathan Rourke and the Bobcats started off on fire, jumping out to an early 21-0 lead, but that firepower wore off in the second half as they only scored 6 second-half points compared to Cincinnati's comeback of 27 second-half points to stun the Bobcats. Ohio had a chance to win it with under a minute left until Rourke threw a pick, sealing it for the Bearcats. Solich weighs in on that final drive and the loss.
Drive that we had, I'm proud of our players in terms of being able to mount that drive and put themselves in position to win the game. We should have won it. You don't get on the 1 foot line very often with downs to go and don't make it work. So I take a lot of that upon myself.
Football wasn't the only OU sport in action this weekend. The women's soccer team traveled to Ypsilanti to square up against MAC opponent Eastern Michigan. OU got the victory in this close one with a score of 2-1. Abby Townsend and Olivia Molesky scored the 2 goals for the Bobcats. And the field hockey team had a contest this weekend, too, against a different Michigan school, Central Michigan. Like soccer, they got the victory, too, winning 3-1. Jillian Shive, Karen Baker, and Leah Warren scored the 3 goals for the Bobcats. This win keeps them perfect in conference play at 2-0. On to the athletes that get paid. The Cincinnati Bengals lost their first game of the year yesterday at the hands of the Carolina Panthers. The Bengals defense was the main culprit for the loss, giving Panther running back Christian McCaffrey 184 yards on the ground. The Panthers had 230 rushing yards total. The offense didn't look too good either. Andy Dalton threw 4 interceptions and was sacked twice on the day. Add those stats onto the loss of star receiver A.J. Green due to injury, and it was a bad Sunday. They fell short 31-21. Next up is Atlanta on the road. I'm Nick Niehaus, and that's it to sports. Back to you, Blake.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a cold night tonight in Athens tonight. 65 degrees is going to be a low tonight. Those rain showers are going to continue on and off tonight. And be aware as you go out tonight, we're going to have a flash flood watch going into effect. 76 for tonight and a nice weekend for tonight. Over to you, Caitlin.
All right, that's it for our show tonight. Thank you for watching Newswatch. I'm Caitlin Coolidge. Have a good evening.